Pranam everyone, Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
So let's start Mangalacharan. Namo Oriyantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savvasahunam, Eso Panchanamukkaro Savva Pava Panasano, Manglarancha Savve Sim Paramam Avai Mangalam. रागद्वेष विजेतारं ज्ञातारं विश्ववस्तुना शक्रपूज्य गिरामेशं तीर्थे संस्तुतिमानये पन्नगे च सुनेन्द्रे च कौशिके पादसंस्कृते निर्विशेषमनस्काय श्रीवीरस्वामिने नमः। अज्ञानां तिमिरान्धानां ज्ञानजननी शलाकया नेत्रम् उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। So, welcome everyone. Today is the 5th class of Tirthankar Charitra. So, in this class, we will continue with our discussion of the last bhav of Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jivan, and we'll also discuss further about the structure of our Chaud Rajlok. So, I think we all know the basic structure of the Chaud Rajlok. So, we know the Chaud Rajlok is divided into 3 sections. There is Urdhva, that is 7 Rajju in height. Then there is Madhyalok, that is 1800 yojans in height. And this Madhyalok is also known as Tirchalok, and it extends 900 yojans above the Swayambhutal Bhumi and 900 yojans below the Swayambhutal Bhumi. And then the last section is Adholok, and Adholok is also 7 Rajju in height. And in the center of this Chaud Rajlok is a thrust nadi that runs from the top to the bottom of the Chaud Rajlok. And this thrust nadi is 1 Rajju in width and Chaud Rajju in height. And as you know, all the thrust jeeves can only exist within the thrust nadi. And outside the thrust nadi, there are all the Sthavar Ekindriya jeeves. So far what we have learned is we have learned about the Urdhvalok. We saw that top of the Urdhvalok is the Siddhasila, and that is 45 lakh yojan in diameter. And just below the Siddhasila, you have got Panch Anuttar Viman. Below the Panch Anuttar Viman, you have got 9 Gravyak Devloks. And below the 9 Gravyak Devloks, you have got 12 Vaimanik Devloks. And if you count the locations and the dwellings for the Kilbishak Devtas, there are 3 dwellings for Kilbishak Devtas and 1 dwelling for Lokantik Devtas. So total 16 Vaimanik Devloks. Then the last class, we were looking at the structure of the Madhyalok. And we saw that Madhyalok is a place where we live, where the Manushya and Tiryansh, they all live. And below the Swayambhutal Bhumi, we saw there are Vyantar Devas and Vyanvantar Devas and Tirya Grumbhak Devtas. They stay up till the 900 Yojan Bhumi. And above the Swayambhutal Bhumi, there are the Jyotis Devtas that also extend up till 900 Yojan Bhumi. So the center of the Madhyalok, we saw last time, we have got Meru Parvat, and this Meru Parvat is 1 lakh yojans in height. It is 99,000 yojans above the surface of the Swayambhutal Bhumi and 1,000 yojans below the surface of the Swayambhutal Bhumi. So surrounding the Meru Parvat, you have got Asankhya, that is countless, Dweeps and Samudras. And the first 2.5 Dweeps and Samudras is known as Adidweep. And in this Adidweep, you have got all the Jyotis Devtas that are mobile. That means there are 5 types of Jyotis Devtas we saw last time. Those are sun, the moon, the constellations, the planets, and the nakshatras. So all these Jyotis Devtas in the Adidweep, they rotate around the Meru Parvat. And in the Adidweep, we have got 132 suns, that is Suryas, and 132 Chandras. And outside the Adidweep, there are Asankhya, countless suns and moons, but they are all stationary. They do not rotate around the Meru Parvat. So this is a basic structure we were talking about last time. And then we also saw the Adholok. So Adholok, we have got 7 Narkavas, and we are going to talk about the details and the structure of the 7 Narkavas in this class. And we saw that in the first Narkavas, that is Ratna Prabha Bhumi, you have got 25 different types of Bhuvanpati Devtas. And out of that, 10 are Asur Kumars and 15 are Parmadhami Devtas. So we were discussing about some of the things given in the Jeev Vichar, and we saw that the Panchendriya Jeevs, they are classified in 535 different types. And in the last few classes, we discussed about 198 different types of Devtas. And we saw these Devtas are 99 types, and they can be both Paryapt and can be Aparyapt. And therefore, there are 198 different types of Devtas. And these Devtas are in all the three loks, Urdhvalok, Madhyalok, and Adholok. So in today's class, we'll see about the Narki. We'll see about the 14 different types of Jeevs of Narki and 14 classifications of Jeevs of Narki. So there are 7 Narkavas, and this all Narkavas, they are all in the Adholok, that is below the Tirchalok. The names of the 7 Narkavas are: first is Ratnaprabha, second is Sarkara Prabha, third is Valuka Prabha, fourth is Panka Prabha, fifth is Dhum Prabha, sixth is Tama Prabha, and seventh is Mahatama Prabha. So these are the names of 7 Narkavas. And the thing to remember about the 7 Narkavas is the pains, the ayushyas, the height, and everything goes on increasing as you go down. That means the 7th Narkavas, that is Mahatama Prabha Bhumi, as the maximum pains and maximum ayushya. Now the Jeevs that are living in the 7 Narkavas, they have got some names. So all the Narki Jeevs that are living in the Ratna Prabha Bhumi, they are known as Dhamma. So that is the name of the Jeevs. The Jeev, the Narki Jeevs in the Sarkara Prabha Bhumi, they are known as Vansha. In Valuka Prabha, they are known as Shaila. In Panka Prabha, they are known as Anjan. In Dhum Prabha, they are known as Risht. In Tama Prabha, they are known as Maga. And in Mahatama, the last Narak, it is known as Magvati. So these are the classical names of the Jeevs that are in the 7 Narkavas. Now all the Jeevs in the 7 Narkavas, they all have the Vaikriya Sharir, similar to the Sharir, the body of the Devs. So that means the Paryapti of the Jeevs of Narki is same as the Jeevs of the Devlok. So that means for the first 48 minutes, for the first Antar Murat, they are all known as Aparyapt. And after the Antar Murat, they all become Paryapt. So like the Dev Gati, the Narak Gati, the minimum Ayushya of the Jeevs in the Narak Gati is 10,000 years. So by default, all the Jeevs in the Narki will become Paryapt after the first 48 minutes. So there are 14 types of Jeevs. There are 7 Aparyapt and 7 types of Paryapta Jeevs in Narki. So now let's talk about some details and structure of the 7 Narkavas. So as we saw just below the Tirchalok, just below the Madhyalok, you have got the Bhumi of the first Narkavas, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. And we saw in this Bhumi, there are 25 different types of Bhuvanpati Devs. They also live in this first Narkavas. Now the distance between the first Narkavas and the second Narkavas is Asankhya Yojans, that is countless Yojans. Similarly, the distance between the Sarkara Prabha and Valuka Prabha, the second and third Narak, is also Asankhya Yojans. So distance between any 2 Naraks is Asankhya Yojans. Now, one thing to remember here is the thickness. The thickness of the Narkavas goes on decreasing as you go down. So we saw in our last class, the thickness of the first Narak is 180,000 Yojans. And the second Narak, the thickness is smaller than the thickness of the first Narak. So in the second Narak, the thickness is 132,000 Yojans. Third Narak, the thickness further decreases, it's 128,000 Yojans, and so on and so forth. So thickness of this bhumis, as you go down, it decreases, but the width or the breadth of the Narkavas, it increases. So in the next slide, we'll see what is the thickness and what is the breadth of each of the Narkavas. So first Ratnaprabha, as we saw, is 180,000 yojans in thickness, but the width is 1 rajju in width. The second Sarkara Prabha, it decreases to 132,000 yojans, and the breadth is 2.5 rajjus. So similarly, if you go down all the way to the 7th Narak, that is Mahatama Prabha, the thickness is 108,000 yojans, and the width is 7 rajjus. So the width increases and the thickness decreases as you go down. So if you see each of the Narkavas, the bhumi or the land of each of the Narak is supported by the 4 layers. So the first layer is known as Ganodadi, and below Ganodadi you have got Ganvat, below Ganvat you have got Tanvat, and below Tanvat you have got Akash. So what is Ganodadi? Ganodadi is a thick layer of liquid water. So thick layer of liquid water is known as Ganodadi. Then Ganvat is thick layer of air. Tanvat is thin layer of air, and Akash is just the empty space. So each Narkavas is supported by these 4 layers. So if you go from top to bottom, you will have the first, the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha, and just below the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha, you will have the Ganodadi, that is a thick layer of water. And below Ganodadi, you will have Ganvat, that is thick layer of air. And below Ganvat, you will have Tanvat, that is thin layer of air. And below Tanvat, you will have empty space, that is Akash. And after that, the Bhumi of second Narkavas, that is Sarkara Prabha starts. Now the thickness of Ganodadi, that is a thick water, is 20,000 yojans. So this thickness remains same after each Narkavas. So Ganodadi is 20,000 yojans. After that, there is Ganvat. This Ganvat is Asankhya yojans. After that, it's Tanvat, and Tanvat is also Asankhya yojans. And after that, there is Akash. There is also Asankhya yojans. So that is how each of these 7 Narkavas are structured. Now the shape of all this Ganodadi, Ganvat, Tanvat is in the form of circular shape. It's form of Valai. Therefore, they are also known as Ganodadi Valai, Ganvat Valai, Tanvat Valai, and then Akash. So if you are going from top to bottom, let me use a laser pointer. So if you are going from top to bottom, you will first see the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha. Then you will see the Ganodadi Valai. Just below Ganodadi Valai, you have got Ganvat Valai. Below Ganvat Valai, you have got Tanvat Valai. Below Tanvat Valai, you have got Asankhya Yojans of Akash. And again, the Bhumi of the Narkavas starts. So that is how you have to imagine for each of the 7 Naraks. So now let's see the heights of the Jeev in these 7 Naraks. So in order to understand the height, you have to understand some of the basic terms. So first thing is Angul. What is Angul? Angul is a length of a finger. So the finger is known as 1 Angul. So 24 Anguls makes 1 hand, that is 1 Hath, and 4 Hath makes 1 Dhanushya. So this is a basic definitions you will find across all our Shastras. Angul is a width of a finger, hand is 1 Hath, and 4 Hath is 1 Dhanushya. So the Jeevs, as you go down from the first to 7th Narak, the height keeps on increasing. So in the first Narak, the height of the Jeevs is 7 Dhanushya, 3 hands and 6 Anguls. So in the second Narak, it increases to 15 Dhanushya, 2 hands and 12 Anguls. So as you go down in the 6th Narak, you have got 250 Dhanushya, and in the 7th Narak, you have got 500 Dhanushya. So basically the height increases, and the reason why the height increases is, the more the height, the more the body, the more the pain. So that is the reason why the height keeps on increasing as you go down to the 7th Narak. Next, let's see the Ayushya of the Jeevs in the 7th Narak. Now here the Ayushya also keeps on increasing as you go down. So before we understand what is the Ayushya, let's understand some of the basic terms in terms of our time or our Kal in our Jain Shastra. So it is said that the smallest unit of time is known as Samay. And there are Asankhya Samays that goes through in a just blink of an eye. So one blink of an eye or 1 second has got Asankhya Samays. So countless Samay is known as 1 Avlika, and 256 Avlika is known as 1 Shulak Bhav. Now this 1 Shulak Bhav is the lifespan or the life cycle of the smallest Jeev, that is Nigod. So Nigod Jeev, they live for the time that is known as 1 Shulak Bhav, and that is 256 Avlikas. So 65,536 Shulak Bhavs is known as 1 Murat. And we all know 1 Murat as 48 minutes. The time we do the Samaik is known as 1 Murat. So that is 48 minutes. And 30 Murats, it makes 1 day. And then if you count 15 days, that if you count a Shukla Paksh or if you count a Chandra Paksh, it is known as 1 Ahoratri or 1 fortnight. and 2 Ahoratris, that means one Shukla Paksh and one Chandra Paksh, is known as 1 month or 1 mass. And 2 mass makes 1 Rutu, that is 1 season, and 3 seasons makes 1 Ayan, and 2 Ayans is 1 year. And 5 years in our Shastra is known as 1 Yug, and 84 lakh years is known as 1 Purvang, and 84 lakh Purvangs is known as 1 Purva. So that is where our counting basically stops after the Purva. There is no real numbers after 1 Purva. So after a Purva, there is a time that is known as Palyopam. So what is Palyopam? In order to understand Palyopam is basically countless years. But in order to understand Palyopam, our Shastra has given some definition. It says that if you dig a circular well that is 1 yojan in diameter and 1 yojan deep, and if you fill this well completely with the hair of Yugliks, now the hair of Yugliks are very soft and very small, and you fill this whole well completely with the hairs of Yuglik, that no more hairs can come inside this well. And every 100 years you take out one hair, and the time it takes to empty the whole well is known as 1 Palyopam. So it's basically countless years. And after Palyopam is a Sagaropam. So 10 crores times crores Palyopam, that is 10 Koda Kodi Palyopam, is known as 1 Sagaropam. And 10 Koda Kodi Sagaropam is 1 Utsarpini or 1 Ausarpini. And if you count 1 Kal Chakra is 1 Utsarpini plus 1 Ausarpini, that is 20 Koda Kodi Sagaropam. And Anant Kal Chakra is 1 Pudgal Paravart Kal. In future classes, we'll talk about what is Pudgal Paravart Kal. There are different types of Pudgal Paravart Kal, Dravya Kshetra Kal Bhav. So we can talk about in our next classes. But the largest measurement of time is known as 1 Pudgal Paravart Kal. So now let's see the Ayushya of the Jews of Narki. So in the first Narak, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years. And the maximum Ayushya of the Jew is 1 Sagaropam. In the second Narak, it increases. The minimum Ayushya is 1 Sagaropam and the maximum Ayushya is 3 Sagaropams. So similarly, the seventh Narak, the minimum Ayushya is 22 Sagaropams and the maximum Ayushya is 33 Sagaropams. So if you see the 7 Narkavas, the pain increases as you go down, the height increases, as well as the Ayushya also increases as you go down to the 7th Narak. So last time we were seeing about the Bhuvanpati Devs that live in the first Narkavas, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. And we saw there are 10 types of Asur Kumars and 15 types of Parmadhamis. And we saw the names of 15 Parmadhamis, Ambarish, Shyam, Shabal, Rudra, and so on and so forth. So these Parmadhamis, we saw that they basically give pains to the Jeev of Narkis. They torture them, and by doing that, they get the enjoyment. And these Parmadhamis, they only go up till the 3rd Narak. So they only give the pain to the Jeeves of Narki up till the 3rd Narak. After the 3rd Narak, there are no Parmadhamis. The Parmadhami do not go to the 4th Narak. In the 4th Narak onwards, the pain is a different kind of pain. It's pain of Kshetra, and it's a different kind of pain. So we saw, so let's see the structure of the first Narkavas. So we saw in our last class that the first Narkavas is 180,000 yojans. And if you leave out the first 1,000 yojans and the last 1,000 yojans, the middle 178,000 yojans is divided into 12 sections. And each of this section we saw is known as Antra, and each Antra is 11,583 yojans. So between the Antra, there is what we call as a layer of Pratar. And this Pratar is 3,000 yojans. So if you see the Bhumi of the first Narkavas, you have got Antra, you have got Pratar, you have got Antra, you have got Pratar, and so on and so forth. So Antra is the place where all the Bhuvanpati Dev lives, and the Pratar are the places where all the Narki Jeev lives. So there are 13 Pratars, and these 13 Pratars are where the Jeeves of the Narki, they live. So let's see the structure, the cross section of the first Narkavas in some more details. So on the Swayambhutal Bhumi, we have got Meru Parvat, and just below the Meru Parvat, for the first 10 yojans, you have got Sunya Pind. Sunya Pind is empty space. There is nothing over there. And then after that, we saw for the next 80 yojans, that it's Vyan Vyantar Devtas, the Devtas that live in the jungles and trees. So they live up till 80 yojans. And after that, again, there is a Sunya Pind. Sunya Pind is empty space. And just below, you have got Vyantar Devtas. And Vyantar Devtas are all our Yaksh, Yakshinis, Manibhadra, Padmavati, Chakkeshwari. They all live in this 800 yojans. So after that, the Tirchalok basically stops and the Adholok begins. So first in the Adholok, the first 100 yojans is empty space. Then there is a 300 yojans that is known as Samanik Pratar. And then after that, there is a Sunya Pind, again empty space. So after that, the Jeeves of Narak starts. So there is a first Pratar known as Narak Pratar, that is 3000 yojans. And here the Jeeves of Narak, they live in the Narak Pratar. Then there is a Antar where the Asur Kumar lives. Then there is again a Narak Pratar where the Jeeves of Narki lives. Then there is Nag Kumar Devta. Then there is Narak Pratar. Then there is Suvarna Kumar Devta. Then there is Narak Pratar. There is Vidyut Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Agni Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Dweep Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Udvati Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Dishi Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Vayu Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Stanit Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar. And after that, there is a Sunya Pind. After that, there is a 13th and last Narak Pratar where Jeeves of Narki lives. And then for the another 1000 yojans, there is a Sunya Pind. And after that, you have got Kalodadhi Valai. This is a thick layer of water. Then you have got Ganvat, that is a thick layer of air. And then there is a Tanvat, that is thin layer of air. And below that, it's a Akash. So this is the cross section of our just the first Narak, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. So in Ratnaprabha Bhumi, you have got total 13 different sections where the Jeeves of Narki, they live. So depending on where you are born where the Jeeves are born in the first Narak, if you are born in the first Pratar, then your Ayushya is different. So for the first Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years, maximum Ayushya of the Jeeves is 90,000 years. If the Jeev is born in the second Pratar, the Ayushya increases. As you go down, the Ayushya increases. So in the second Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 10 lakh years, maximum Ayushya is 90 lakh years. In the third Pratar, its minimum Ayushya is 90 lakh years, maximum Ayushya is 1 crore years. And if you go down, the 13th Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 9/10 of a Sagarupam and maximum Ayushya is 1 Sagarupam. So if you just look at the first Narkavas, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years and maximum Ayushya is 1 Sagarupam. But again, they have got 13 different places where they can, where the Jeeves can are born in the first Narkavas. So now let's discuss, some of the pains of the Jeeves of Narki. So the Jeeves of Narki, they usually have 3 types of pains. So the first type of pain is known as Kshetrakrut pain. That is a pain because of the geographical reasons and the environmental conditions. The second type is the Parmadhami Krut pain. The Parmadhami, they inflict the pains, and this is only up till the third Narak. And the third type of pain is known as Anyakrut pain. That is a pain that each Narki they give to other Jeeves of Narki by fighting among themselves. So these are the 3 types of pain that Jeeves of Narki, they go through. So in today's class, we'll talk about the Kshetrakrut pain and also the Anyakrut pain. And in the next class, we'll talk about the Parmadhami Krut pain. There are 15 types of Parmadhami, and in each Parmadhami, they have got one, what you call a speciality or the way they give the pain. It's different. So we'll talk about that in much detail in our next classes. But in today's class, let's talk about the Kshetrakrut pain. So in Tatvat Sutra, there are 10 types of Kshetrakrut pain that is described. So first type of pain that all the Jeeves of Narki go through is the pain of hunger. So in the Shastra, it is said that the pain of hunger or bhuk is so severe and so intense that a single Jeev of Narki, they can eat all the eatables in the Chaud Rajlok. That means they can eat all the food grains, fruits, sweets, everything in the complete Chaud Rajlok. And then too, their hunger will not subside, but rather it will go on increasing. So Jeeves of Narki, they are in such tremendous torture of extreme hunger that they spend the entire lifetime, long lifetime, shouting and screaming under extreme pain. So that is the first type of pain, that is a pain of hunger. The second type of pain is pain of thirst. The pain of thirst is also so extreme and so severe that it says that if a Jeev of Narki, if he can drink all the water in the Rajlok, he can drink the waters from the ponds, rivers, lakes, everything. And then that too, after doing that, his mouth, his lips, and his tongue will still remain dry. And he will always experience a sense of dryness. And the more he tries to escape from the pain, the greater the intense the pain becomes. So that is the pain of thirst. The third type of pain, the Jeev of Narki, is the pain of cold, and it is known as Shit Vedna. So it is said the pain of cold is so intense and is so severe that that if a Manusya living here, if he has got a cold or asthma and is not able to bear even the slightest cold temperature, if such a Manusya is made to lie down without the clothes in the most coldest place on earth, on top of the mountain, with the snow falling and with the extremely strong cold breeze, the amount of sufferings he will go through is nothing in compared to the Jeeves of Narkis. So Jeeves of Narkis will have asankhya times more pain of the cold than such a Manusya. Then the fourth pain is a pain of hot, that is Ushna Vedna. And it says that for comparison, a person who is in the Manusya Lok, who is born in the cold climate and is unable to bear even the slightest heat, if such a person is made to sleep on the bed of burning coal and hot wind is blowing, the amount of pain he will go through is nothing in comparison to the Jeev of Narkis. So Jeev of Narkis will have asankhya time more pains of hot climate compared to such a Jeev in the Manusya Lok. Now, one thing you have to understand, this pain goes on increasing from the first to seventh Narak. So the seventh Narak, the pain is the most intense. Then the fifth type of pain given in the Tattva Sutra is the pain of diseases and pain of fever. So Narki Jeeves, they have constant fever. And they have got the number of diseases, they go on increasing as you go down. So in Shastra, it says in the seventh Narak, the Jeev of Narkis have got 5 crore 68 lakh 99,584 diseases. So the Jeev of seventh Narak as is constantly under pain of fever and diseases. Then the sixth pain is the pain of burns. So the pain of burning, the burning sensation, it is so extreme, and it is said that their body, both inside and outside, is always burning. And the more they try to find the relief from this torture, the more the pain increases and more it multiplies. And the seventh pain is pain of itching, and it's also known as kandu. So it says that the Jeeves of Narki, they have got a constant sensation of itching. And even if they scratch their skins with knife, swords, or any sharp weapons, the irritation will not go away. So there is an endless sense of itching in the Narak. Now, eighth is pain of slavery. So there is no freedom in Narkavas. You know, the Jeeves of Narki, they always want to die, but they are unable to die because of Vaikriya Sarir. So there is no independence. They have constant feeling of dependence, and there is no mental or physical peace of any manner. Then the eighth pain is the pain of fear. The pain of fear is very, very big. Because of their avdhignan, or what we call as vibhangnan, they are able to see the upcoming torture or upcoming calamity. So they know that some Parmadhamis are coming their way and how they are going to torture. So because of that constant vibhangnan, they are in constant fear, and they spend their whole life in fear and tension. And the 10th pain is pain of sorrow. That is the Jeeves of Narki. They are constantly crying, they are constantly screaming, and they are always in grief. And they spend the entire long lifetime in sorrow. So these are the 10 type of Kshetrakrut pain, or the pain because of environment and geographical conditions. And the next type of pain we saw is Anyakrut pain. So here it says that like in Manushya-lok, right, you have got dogs, street dogs, and these street dogs, they are constantly barking, fighting against the street dogs from other region. And similarly, the Jews of Narki, whenever they see another Jew, they because of there is a always sense of revenge and always krodh, and therefore they immediately want to fight against them. And because of that, they fight against each other, they cut their organs and so on and so forth. And it's almost like slaughterhouses. So like the slaughterhouses in Manushya Lok, it's almost like that in the Narkavas. So this is Anyakrut pain. Now there is a Parmadhamikrut pain that we'll talk in the next class. There's lots of details given in there. But one thing to understand is the pain basically goes on increasing. So the first Narak has the smallest amount of pain, and the seventh Narak as the largest or the most intense type of pain. So now we will come back